I'd like to call to order the Wyoming Valley West School District work session for December 6th at 7:12. Roll call, please.
Mr. Damascus,
Here.
Mr. Hardwick,
Present.
Mr. Keating,
Here.
Mr. Perfetto,
Here.
Mrs. Cassatt, here, Mr. Camus.
Here. There was an executive session held prior to this meeting to discuss personnel items. A moment of silence followed by the salute to the flags, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Tosh, do you have anything this evening?
Superintendent comments?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, just a couple. Congratulations to senior girls field hockey player Olivia Yellen for being named to the National Field Hockey Coaches Association All-Region Second Team. Olivia is the only player from Wyoming Valley Conference to be recognized for this honor. Congratulations to Olivia. On a sad note, retired K-9 officer Una recently passed away. Una made a difference at the high school during her time assigned there and to the various demonstrations she participated in at the elementary level. On a middle school level, congratulations, Mrs. Schneider and selected band students recently participated in the 2023 Marywood University Junior High Wind Band celebration. Over 40 school districts participated in the competition style event. Notably, Liam Biala placed second in the trumpet and Dimitri Craig placed second in the alto saxophone. So congratulations. And finally, tomorrow night, you're cordially invited to make and take a literacy night for kindergarten students and their families. It'll be held at 3rd Avenue Elementary School from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Literacy games for your family. Take the games home for your students. Tech support will be provided and there will be eligible prizes for students and parents. We hope to see you there. Again, that's tomorrow night, literacy night, kindergarten students and parents, December 7th, 6 to 7 at 3rd Ave Elementary School. Thank you, Mr. Camus.
Thank you, Mr. Tosh, very much. Statements from interested citizens, Ms. Carosa, please.
Hi, Amy Carosa, 44. I just noticed on the agenda when I was looking last night that there were 50 policies that are going to be reviewed, I guess, or discussed tonight and potentially adopted. I didn't get a chance to review all of them, but I did review one and I just had a couple questions. I didn't know if someone maybe from the board could explain what the policy is. And it is policy, or it looks like it's a new policy. So I'm just trying to figure out the reason why it might be needed since it wasn't in existence until, I guess, now. It's policy number 146.1, which is called trauma-informed approach. I just wondered if someone from the board could explain what that policy is, what it means, and why we need a new policy called trauma-informed approach.
Amy, trauma-informed is a state mandate that our teachers have to receive a certain amount of professional development every year. So that's why that has to be implemented. And our teachers have been trained through the local intermediate unit on trauma-informed during the course of this year during the Act 80 days.
So it just has to do with teachers and not students?
It deals with trauma some of the mental health issues that students are going through and to try and prepare teachers a little bit better post-pandemic, that type of thing.
Okay, because I saw that there's a mental health committee that's assigned to the school district. Who makes up that mental health committee?
The mental health committee is run by, is the team leader of that is Mr. Kelly, who's the guidance counselor at the high school.
And is
And
then
he has a number of guidance counselors from the middle school and the elementary school, and I believe some administrators on that.
okay. And then there's a section called data collection and plan review as part of the K through 12 student services plan. So I'm just wondering, how is data collected? I'm just assuming that means surveys. Is that surveys on universally?
Yeah, and that I would
Rolled
have
out?
to, as far as the data collection with the mental health committee, I would have to talk to Mr. Kelly about that.
I don't know that much about trauma informed practices, but it seems like it's a universal screening. And in that case, it would mean every student. And I just wondered if it is for every student, if the district's going to provide opt-out for parents that don't want data collected on their student.
Right. And I can get you that information. I'll get you more specific information on that. As I said before, when I talked to you, I'll get you more information on
Okay,
that.
I'm sure I'm probably not the only parent that wouldn't want surveys,
Yeah, and the
mental
surveys
health
that
surveys done on their children.
the surveys that we've done so far, the PACE survey, they're all they're surveys that there are parental opt-outs with it.
Right. I just know that there are some mental health surveys. I'm not saying in this district, but in other districts that aren't under the protection of PPRA because they're not required surveys. So that law doesn't affect surveys that aren't required. So I would want to make sure that I have an opt-out form for parents
Right.
that wouldn't want. That's
Okay.
all.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Amy, thank you very much for your comments. Mr. Tosh will be reaching out to you. Did you get with her?
Well, I talked to her, we talked to
did?
her already with this. Yeah, it was.
But yous are both squared away. You're
Yeah, we're
good now?
squared away.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Athletic, Mr. Vasquez, do you have anything? For
No updates for technology or athletics this month.
Mr. Keating, do you have anything for this month?
Yes, Mr. Camus, we advertised for our request for proposals for banking and borrowing services. And we're pleased to report that we do have a favorable RFP, but we had a curveball thrown at us tonight that we need to look into a little more. Our business manager informed us that the audit for the last school year just came out this week, and it's showing a general fund balance of $16,922,211. That would be over a $17 million change in fund balance since we've really begun working hard on our budget. And if that's the case, which it appears to be, because these are what he provided us with tonight, are pages from the audited financial statements, we would be going back to the financial institutions that did submit RFPs and telling them that, you know, we would be interested at this point in their depository services only. And the very good news about that is, you know, when we put the RFP out, the district was earning 1.76% on its general deposit banking, and we have an RFP for 4.5%. You know, based on the numbers that Tom just gave us tonight, with a general fund balance of $36,513,738 at the beginning of November, that would be a positive change in interest earnings of over $82,000 a month. So this RFP may be one of the better things that our finance committee, has come up with since we've been working in this committee form. That would equate to over $1 million in additional interest earnings, for, the school. But I think we need to have a meeting with the business manager and the superintendent, to learn more about the fund balance, which we were just apprised of this evening. But it appears to be very good news. A few years ago, we were sitting on an audited, $1.1 million negative balance. And if that number shifted to 16.9 million, that obviously now helps us with a lot of the important decisions that we need to make in terms of capital improvement projects and just investing into our school. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Keating, and thank you for working on that RFP for us. Really appreciate it. Mr. Hardwick, do you have anything this evening? Well, you're just down there.
I'm just in, sir.
Have you tripped up there?
Just briefly, I did discuss with Mario, we will, once the new board members come on, we will be doing a special education committee meeting, but it will be with our attorney to present and discuss the special education process within the district and the interaction with the board and just give a decent overview. I know it was very helpful to me when we did it a year or so ago, and so we'll be doing that again, probably in the new year. With regard to ESSERS, I don't have anything as of now. I would like to reach out and see if I can have something for next week, getting with Mr. Tosh, Mr. Widiak, and Kim Walk to just get myself up to speed. But that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Mr. Hardwick, very much. Mr. Dickon, do you have anything for the safety, under safety?
First thing is, we started working on a grant, myself, Ms. Troy, and our consultant. We're gonna try to add more swipe card badge doors to all the buildings. If this goes through, which will be a benefit to the teachers, our staff, and our SROs. And then hopefully by the second semester, just so the board's aware and our parents know, we're going to pilot an ID program where students will be required to wear their IDs around their necks throughout the school day. We'll be providing lanyards for every student. We'll be providing an ID with a barcode so they can use it to get their lunch and their breakfast. And then that ID will also help us identify students when they're in places they don't belong. So we're going to be working on, when Ms. Croza talked about policies, we're currently drafting a policy that we'll present to the board to roll out this pilot program, hopefully by the end of January of 24.
That's very exciting.
It is. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much. Under buildings and grounds, I have Mr. Hardwick, Mr. Tosh, and I. We had a meeting with SiteLog on November 30th at district offices to discuss this kickoff of Third Ave. Third Avenue will be starting here very shortly. They're going to start with the boilers and then hopefully get the roof in. There was some discussion of getting some preliminary things underway on the middle school, so that was pretty exciting. Here we go. That's all I have. Under
Rick,
general,
just a quick, like for the turf stadium, do we have anything that still working on plans for that about when we may start that, or?
So I believe when we talked to him last, he said we could have that completed for the beginning of June. If that's what we decide to do. But when I spoke with him last, when we approved his contract, he said I'd have no problem getting that in for June if that's what the board wanted. Or do we want to wait for spring sports to be over? So we're really picking our colors now and logos and making sure how we want to design. That's
Okay.
basically what he'll be waiting for next. That's pretty exciting as well.
Yeah. Great.
General recommended action items. There is a lot in here. Does anybody have any questions on this? All right, moving on. Staff recommended action items. Does anybody have anything on that? All
Mr.
right.
Camus? May I ask a question? And it's just for clarification, it's really to Mr. Tosh, because there's so many policies here. And I appreciate Amy Carosa looking through them, and I'm sure there's others. Can you help us just a little bit understand the process to go through the policies? Because there's a lot here. I think it's important that people know these aren't just, hey, go vote.
Right. The policy committee is comprised of myself, Attorney Messinger, Mrs. Troy, Mr. Dickton, Mr. Navraki, and if we have any administrators that can make it on those days, they're also involved in the policy committee. So what we do is we've contracted with PSBA, obviously. PSBA really kind of serves as making recommendations and suggestions with the policy based on a lot of times what are mandated policies for the state of Pennsylvania. So in essence, we're following a lot of the direction that they do give us. If there are certain policies that we feel are applicable to Valley West that we have to tweak, we take a good look at doing that. But it's probably about a 2 or 3 hour process that we go through these policies. And I will say this, and I've mentioned this before, prior to this year, and I commend the school board with it, prior to this year, our policy manual, and I'm not afraid to say it, was very, very outdated. We did add policies that were mandated over the years, but it was one of the first initiatives that I had as a superintendent to say that policy manual is significantly outdated, and a lot of the policies and procedures that this new board wanted to put into place, we've been able to put in place since then, as well as the state mandates. And one of the things that if you follow Pennsylvania Department of Education, there are a lot of mandates that have come out. Unfortunately for school boards and school districts, a lot of the mandates are unfunded or severely underfunded. But we've worked very well with our partners at the Pennsylvania School Board Association. I have to compliment Mrs. Bullock here, who really does yeoman's work in kind of coordinating and being a liaison with our committee. Matter of fact, she is on the committee, and when we get off track a little bit, she always steers us back on. But she's done a great job working with the Pennsylvania School Boards Association to recommend and to show them where we are maybe differing a little bit in our policy and to document that. So it's been a very, I think, healthy process. And I think in the long run, it's serving the district very well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anyone else? Mr. Tosh, just for point of clarity, so I understand. I thought Miss Groves was placed on the policy committee, or is she just like as part of a student interaction, or how does that?
Yeah, well, there was some miscommunication with it after the first time that we didn't meet. But what she's going to do is when the policy committee meets, we're going to invite her the next day and to go over the policies with her on what we discussed previously.
Okay,
Just so she's informed, and again, to be as transparent as possible.
okay, all right, perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Tosh. That's really all I have. Board members' comments. Does anybody have anything on board members' comments?
You know what, I would just like to, I don't know if anybody saw the news or with our Spartan Singers and Scott Coates. They did the tree lighting at the courthouse. They'll be down at the Capitol, I think this week or next week. The amount of effort that he puts into those Spartan Singers and the concerts, it's just absolutely amazing. He just does a great job with those kids.
Agrees.
Even though this is not a non-voting meeting. Okay. Anyone else on the board members' comments?
I do. I guess the general question. I'm sure others are asking, where do we stand in our process of hiring a business manager? I know that we've received some applications. I just feel that perhaps we should provide an update on.
What Mr. Keating is the head of the.
I mean, I
personnel
can
file.
provide it, but
Mr. Hardwick asked about where we stand with the finance manager, business managers.
I'm sure others are curious, so I just thought it might be good to provide a brief update.
I believe, Mr. Hardwick, that there are 8 applicants at this point. We did not set interviews yet for those. There was discussion with the superintendent last week because of the short time window that we have until Mr. Widiak leaves for his new position, that we consolidate some of the general duties and with the consultant that's working with us until we get a viable candidate for the position.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay, so open it. And then you want roll call, you want pledge allegiance, you want all that. Okay. Okay. I have nothing else.
Mr. Camus, I do have, and it just popped in my head. I wrote in the
Sure.
corner. I've been, is there a time frame that we have to, as a board, do the vote for the tax index to not exceed the state maximum? Will that be this
believe
month
it's
or
May.
coming up?
No, what he's asking, I believe
April, I think
we
April, May.
have to vote by January,
I thought so.
not to exceed whatever the allowable index is, which
So you want
that,
to open
that
the-
vote is not
Do a roll
indicative at
call.
all on what we're going to do.
Almost sound all those-
It's procedural, but we do have to do it before the first of the year.
Is
I
that
won't do
we
that.
won't
You won't do that.
supersede the maximum index set by,
I think I read today that a couple of the other
Typically,
districts
during
just
work
went
session,
through the
we don't-
process.
We don't do it during
Yeah.
work session, we do it in the regular meeting.
Right.
I'll
So
do
we
it that
should-
way, that's fine.
Make sure that's on our agenda.
Anything else? Okay. Moving on to our special meeting for general purposes for Wednesday, December 6th at, what's it, 7:30, 7:35? Right, just confirm. At 7:35. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Dabascus,
Here.
Mr. Hardwick,
Here,
Mr. Keating,
here,
Mr. Profetto,
Here.
Mrs. Cassatt. Here. Mr. Camus.
Here. Under advisement of our solicitor, he advised us to table this special meeting. I'm asking for a motion to table a special meeting this evening.
I'll make that motion. Mr. Camus.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything on a question?
I think just for clarification purposes, everything that's on the special meeting agenda is going to be consolidated into next week's regular voting agenda when there are newly elected board members there to participate in the meeting, and we have some more time to look into some matters that were just brought to our attention this evening.
Correct. So I have a motion and a second. Anything else on the question? A roll call, please.
Mr. Dabascus,
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick,
yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes,
Mr. Profetto,
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes,
Mr. Camus.
Yes. Our reorganization meeting will be held Wednesday, December 13th, 2023 at 7 PM here. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and a second.
Tom's not here.
Second. I know, we're getting the flow.